In a world where information seems to travel at the speed of light and traffic at a snail's pace, where the agenda of those at the helm doesn't always reflect the pressures on the streets, where the rubber hits the road, where there's queue of issues needing to be interrogated in the name of speaking truth to power.
Welcome to A Place at the Table,
where we set the agenda,
table the issues that matter to you,
and invite you to take a seat at the table.
Welcome to A Place at the Table. Can you hear the kata kata? Well, that's because we reflect the issues that affect you and I. I'll be talking about doctors on the run, the Japa exodus, and its deadly cost is nothing short of a national emergency.
I'm also raising an alarm on a significant national issue, the development with NELFRAUD, or shall I say NELFRAUD.
NELFRAUD is definitely right. Another tale of things fall apart, eh, Yinka? Well, I'm looking to promote harmony among the sisterhood. I'll be speaking on trusted female relationships. After all, we are family. Right, Zuma? Yeah, that's it.
You can sing it again, Kate. In the spirit of being my sister's keeper, I'll be spotlighting the unfortunate case of vulnerable young ladies seeking greener pastures. Hey, sis.
Hey, Zuma, I too am being my sister's keeper and saying justice for women can't only come in death.
Like I said, kata kata everywhere, but at least here at the table, this is a safe space for you. Settle down, we've got your back. What happens when a country loses its doctors? We don't have to imagine it. It's happening in Nigeria. Doctors are leaving in droves and the consequences are deadly. Let's talk facts. The World Health Organization recommends one doctor for every 600 people. In Nigeria, we have one doctor for every 3,474. Some estimates say 1 to 2,500. That's a disaster. 16,000 doctors have left Nigeria in the past 5 years. Just 55,000 remaining to serve a population of over 220 million people. And who can blame them? A Nigerian doctor earns 250,000 naira a month. That's under $200. In the United Kingdom, they earn over 40 million naira a year. But this isn't just about money, it's about dignity. Imagine walking in a hospital with no electricity, ventilators don't work, oxygen is scarce, and you have to buy your own gloves to save lives. Imagine watching someone die, not because you lack the skills, but because you lack the tools. And when doctors speak up, they're branded unpatriotic. Meanwhile, politicians fly abroad for routine checkups. This isn't just a doctor problem, it's a national emergency. Nigeria's maternal mortality rate is 576 per 100,000 births, the fourth highest in the world. Our life expectancy is just 56 years. People are dying from treatable illnesses, not because we lack the cure, but because we lack caregivers. Here's the truth. If we don't value our doctors, we don't value our lives. We must pay them better, fix infrastructure, and offer career growth, not as a favor, but for our own survival. Because if this Japa wave continues, we won't just lose our doctors, we'll lose lives. The time to act is now.
This Japa thing, there was a time it was front and center when the federal government was trying to, or some state governments were trying to, let me use this word lightly, kidnap the doctors and make them stay and make sure they don't go anywhere, that they have to stay.
Nigeria.
Yeah, they have to stay for a minimum of 5 years or so, and there was a lot of uproar. Nothing has changed. It's gotten worse. The numbers are alarming, 55,000 only to 200 million people, meaning that more than half, three-quarters are not getting any health care whatsoever. The buying of gloves didn't start today. We bought gloves in the early 90s when I had to work in the lab, and you have to take samples from different places. We were buying gloves then, and it's just terrible that that is still occurring. But what do you expect from a nation where even from the top, they're not taken care of here. They travel to France, to London, get the best. Now, if you were being treated here, you would make sure that even at least the primary health care centers are basically equipped Not that you have some makeshift makeup box with methylated spirits and cotton wool and maybe plaster and iodine. You need to make sure that the people have the basics. But you can see that if you don't have money, you're going to die. Simple,
Sad
straight,
reality.
and finished.
Sometimes even if you have money.
But at least you have option. I'm saying if you have money, you have an option. If you have no money, you have no option.
You know, this is a topic of which comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Ato.
Because you see, everything you said is great. You know, the question at the end of the day is what's the solution? And we have to be very practical here. I was when I was reading about this, I saw a recent comment by the Minister of Health, Mohamed Pate, that Nigeria spends $21,000 per doctor. I mean, the cost of
To train a doctor.
To train a doctor, it's about $21,000. I mean, maybe that is questionable because 21,000 right now is almost over 30 million naira if current exchange rate. But we could say that to a large extent that, because you get this
Subsidized education.
Subsidized education, that Nigerian doctors are subsidized, which is the reason why they're attractive to other countries, because they're able to get high quality doctors and with less training and less conversion. So if that's a challenge that we have, that we're spending a lot more to subsidize the training of doctors and then they go out of the country. Question, should we still subsidize their education? One, if we subsidize their education, should we get them to
Sign a bond.
sign a bond to say you're going to have to
So
stay?
because you subsidize their education, you will not pay them well.
No. So I know I agree
You pay
with
them
you.
well, but
I
they
agree with you.
shouldn't. Japa, that's a
But
classic
saying
case of
them well.
monkey they walk baboon they chop.
I don't think there is
I'm trying to
any
say that
education in Nigeria,
there has
tertiary
to-
education in Nigeria that is not subsidized.
I'm just saying that we have to be practical here, and see that, maybe instead of subsidizing their training, the money we're using to subsidize them, we should use to guarantee their pay, so that when they get out, they know that they're going to be paid
I don't
like a
mind that.
contemporary out of the country. So we have to have that conversation.
Two things for me stood out in your advocacy. What happens when a country loses its doctors? What happens is wahala and the katakata you're talking about. We won't just lose doctors, we will lose lives.
Yes.
We are already losing lives.
We are.
About 10 years ago, my daughter had a burn accident. And I discovered there was no single pediatric burn specialist in the whole of Kwara. There were burn specialists, there was no pediatric burn specialist. I had to be bringing in a doctor from Ibadan every other day to come and check her out. It was financially draining, but that was the only option we had, because the other burn specialists, they were not adequately equipped.
For children.
For children. She was in a lot of pain. Recently, a friend close to me is looking for a pediatric neurologist. We found one, but this one person had a family emergency, so they've been unable to see the neurologist for the past 3 months. It's a nightmare. Like, you literally have the money to pay for the services, but you can't even
Which is why you said even with the money, you will
the
not.
services. There is a huge gap, and the gap did not start now. Even before the Japa I'm talking as far back as 10 years ago.
Yeah, or more.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
The moment you leave Lagos and Abuja, any other form of specialist, you have to fight tooth and nail to access them. It's gotten worse now.
Yes,
like
progressively
day by
worse.
day. When you go, and every time I'm always saying, oh, we are looking for this specialist, because I do some form of recruitment. Like, we're looking for this medical specialist. You can't even find them. And like you said, the pay is
Atrocious.
Atrocious is the word. The only way we can make this better is to improve the pay. Not just improve the pay, improve the working conditions.
Yes.
Because doctors are constantly lamenting.
How are you performing operation with the torchlight from your phone? With light from your phone?
And we need
No
to,
power.
And we need to aggressively invest in the health sector. You go to some health sectors, even me,
Father Lord,
as a patient, you start feeling fine immediately because you're like, well, I can't stay here.
I like that you said something about being practical and then solutions as well. And you spoke to infrastructure already in your advocacy. But might I also add that when it comes to specialized medical service, the scarcity is actually a global thing. It's not just Nigeria. So maybe this is an opportunity for parents to also try to encourage their children to go into certain areas of medicine. Because I know people who come in from the UK and from Canada to see a gynecologist in Nigeria, right? That's on one hand. And then I don't buy the idea of removing whatever subsidy we still have in education right now, because every time we talk about there being a problem in any sector, there's always this space of hiding under, oh, well, you are getting it cheap. Whether we're getting it cheap or not, please, what exactly is a Nigerian gaining as a Nigerian right now that is being subsidized? The only one that was trickling down to everybody was fuel subsidy, and now it is gone. So please, what exactly are they subsidizing, or is the government subsidizing for the people? If it's just education, I don't believe that education cannot work because it's being subsidized, right? Now, we need to talk about remuneration. So they go to other countries and they are paid well. But nobody is saying the Nigerian government should probably start paying them $5,000 or $2,000 per month. That's not the idea. The point is people need to earn take home that takes them home. Right? When you earn $3,000 or $5,000 outside the country, we know how much goes back into maintaining your lifestyle in a month, right? So if we're going to look at remuneration, our government just needs to be empathetic in their leadership, because you need to go back to what they are earning. How many of them can easily say, oh, I have worked 5 years and I can say that I'm earning 1 million naira a month? It doesn't happen.
How many can buy brand new cars?
You know, it doesn't happen. So we need to go back to the drawing board and actually give them something that can actually take them home.
As teaching time saves 9, so too a state of emergency saves a national disaster.
Indeed, Benga. However, I'm beginning to wonder if the distance between emergency and disaster isn't shorter than we sometimes think. In April 2025, the National Association of Nigerian Students raised an alarm about the possible fraud associated with the federal government student loan scheme. They referenced the report by the Community Orientation and Mobilization Officers of the National Orientation Agency that some institutions were conspiring with banks to shortchange students by deliberately delaying payments to successful student applications for financial benefits. Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFRAUD, was established on April 3, 2024, when the Student Loans Act was signed into law by President Bola Tinubu. In the 1 year since it was established, it has received over 203 billion and disbursed 44 billion naira to 299 institutions, benefiting almost 300,000 students. On the back of NAN's allegation and supported by a petition from NELFRAUD, the ICPC initiated an investigation to get to the roots of it. From media reports, the following can be established. Many institutions benefited from disbursement delays from NELFRAUD. This resulted in double payments of tuition. Students were not informed, their student accounts were not credited, nor were refunds processed automatically. 2. Institutions charging processing fees. According to the Punch newspapers, 51 tertiary institutions illegally deducted between 3,005 and 30,000 naira from students' fees disbursed. In some cases, the institutions hiked the amount advised to NELFRAUD as tuition in order to pocket the difference. In one particular case, for a school fees of 55,000, the school uploaded 120,000 to the NELFRAUD portal. There's no better name to call this than the Nigerian Education Loan Fraud, committed by institutions of higher learning, which should model the highest ethical behavior to their students and the larger society. A scheme meant to benefit the less privileged, so everyone gets a fair chance at quality education, was somehow capitalized to defraud the government, the students, and taxpayers. While we hope that ICPC will not relent in its investigations, it's important to call on NELFRAUD to to plug the loopholes in its system. They can help by fast-tracking the processing and disbursements of loans. Some students reported disbursements after graduation. This shouldn't be. NELFRAUD must not become NELFRAUD.
It has become NELFRAUD now. Barely a year after it was established.
Yes.
It's already a fraud. Why are we having these situations where something that is meant to, is the same situation when there was free education, or when free education is offered and it's supposed to benefit the less privileged. You have people with money carrying their children and putting there. When we look to leadership, sometimes, all of the time, we have to look at ourselves, because like I always say, before they will say heroes past, these people don't drop from the sky. You are meant to help. Government has provided these funds to help so that those who cannot afford it can get some sort of softness in their bid to acquire education. But you, the institution, who is asking you to charge processing fee? And why are the funds not going directly to the students? When you say fund, are they not going to repay?
Yeah, it's a loan.
So you're not getting the money. How are you going to pay for something you didn't get? And how are you going to pay for something that is coming after the whole process has already gone through? The thing about Nigeria is it's always a knee-jerk reaction. We don't put enough in place to make sure that these things don't occur. But of course, it's a human element, and it's just pure greed and evil hearts at work. That's all I have to say.
Absolutely. I mean, the tragedy of this story, it's in the fact that it's happening at a higher institution, and it's these institutions that are committing the fraud. Like you said in your advocacy, you should hold universities to their highest ethical standards. And it's just really, really sad that the universities are acting like roadside touts, because this is extortion. This is agberoism. I mean, charging 3,500, 30,000, you know, being street smart in quote by, you know, just trying to grab something from the NELFRAUD. On paper, it's a brilliant initiative by the government. LC said the other time that, I mean, since they took away full subsidy, what are we really gaining as Nigerians? I mean, as Lagosians, you even have to pay to enjoy nature, to go to the beach. That's a conversation for another day. Yeah, but I mean, back to this NELFRAUD issue. It's just, it's really sad. They need to, didn't they think this policy through and simulate and look at areas that they might be lacking potential for fraud, knowing the sort of environment they're operating in. And the reason why this happened in the first place is because of a culture of impunity and not punishing bad behavior. Because if you have sent people to jail in the past, they would rethink it.
Stands to
reason.
I
mean, the quality, the standard, which is quite sad, of Nigerian correctional facilities should scare anyone from committing fraud in this country.
Because NELFRAUD itself, you know, take some of this responsibility.
Okay, I would like to say that it's quite sad that Nigerians will seek every opportunity to exploit the vulnerable.
Yes.
Because why is a scheme designed to provide accessible education to the everyday Nigerians become an avenue for fraud? NELFRAUD is new, and with all new schemes, they will have their teething period, which I believe they are having now. I really love the idea of NELFRAUD. I'm trying not to call it NELFRAUD. Because it's
call it what it is.
It is really the NELFRAUD that is in my head. But, you know, I'm trying really hard to call it NELFRAUD. You know, it's a grand idea, and it's something that will make it, that will impact a lot of people's lives, particularly the people at the bottom of the pyramid. So yes, NELFRAUD also needs to take responsibility, because if they had had like a pilot, they would, again, impact assessments, check out for all the possible loopholes. There's no reason why NELFRAUD cannot be integrated directly into the school's payment portal. I mean, you can have the option pay with NELFRAUD as you're trying to pay your school fees, because school fees are paid online now these days. And there is no reason why NELFRAUD cannot send an automated email to students, confirm how much your school is billing you for. Simple automated email.
Automation will not work. Money has to be stolen.
It's crazy. We all need to do better.
We now have to be the one confirming university school fees.
At this point, and we have to, you know, do whatever it is we can to make things work.
And kudos to Nance for bringing this to
for naming and shaming.
Yes.
Well, okay. Kudos to them.
You don't believe it?
Well, I would say that this corruption we are trying to fight in this country is looking like a battle that cannot be won.
Lost.
A battle against
You know,
principalities.
so I'll take us back a bit. When President Buhari was running, right, his campaign was fighting corruption, right? A lot of people keyed into it, to be very honest.
I didn't.
A lot of people did. I
me.
honestly didn't, actually, because I sort of have access to a bit of history, right? But yes, a lot of people did. And when he won, people were so happy. People were happy. People ran into the streets and all that. But when he left office...
Some people were happy. Please, don't put me in the mood.
Okay.
You were expecting a throwback of the 83 to 85
Our
Buhari.
corruption index became worse by the time he left.
LCC.
Yes.
Enters President Tinubu, right? He also said he is coming to fight corruption. In fact,
Did he?
Did he?
yes. If you read his manifestos, his part. Even in fact, okay, if you say he did not, last 4 months he had a presidential media chat, right? And I'm quoting him when he says, "Effective way to fight corruption is to block loopholes."
That's it.
Yep.
He said this. I mean, you can Google it. Just 4 months ago, right?
Did the FCC
And-
listen to this? Because
Well,
they are
I mean, this is
picking
our
naira.
CNC.
They are watching Instagram now and looking for the next part.
Right, and this is what he said. And sometimes when he speaks about these things, he speaks from a place of confidence, and you think that this person knows what he wants to do. I remember some of his supporters then said, "This is a man who knows how to put the right person in the right place." Square peg in square hole, right?
Remember chasing
But this is, at least every other one, let's say that you are trying to flush the system is a lot of work. This is your baby. You signed this into law. You set this up. CBN is involved. It is under your nose. Please, why are we having this conversation?
You will protect it and make sure it succeeds.
And when I saw the news, honestly, I was laughing. Because why are you telling me that a sector, an organization that you set up that's up to 2 years have moved 70-something billion?
It's 1 year.
As they ought.
Right? And I mean, Zuma is already giving you technological solutions.
Free consultation.
You know, we have tech people who
Open and
understand this. We
transparent.
have people you can reach out to. My problem is this thing we are saying who is in charge. CBN is a very huge part of NELFRAUD. You remember when they said, oh, even the directors are coming in, there's somebody that their job is to ensure that the student loans, the money that are coming in are channeled. You have this type of people. And again, going back to Nigerians, you have this type of people, and we're having this conversation now. The disappointment is just too loud.
The violin.
And I don't know if there is a hope anymore in solving this, because you said, according to you, effective way to fight corruption is to block loopholes. Why couldn't they block loopholes in NELFRAUD?
We speak of remedies and solutions. However, the situation is there when the guardians become the looters.
Oh, shit. Now, well, Yinka, this is the situation we find ourselves, which is why we need trusted friendships more than ever in these trying times. True friendships are a vital part of a woman's life, providing emotional support, validation, and a sense of belonging. These relationships can be a source of strength, comfort, and joy, helping women navigate life's challenges and celebrate its triumphs. True friendships among women are built on mutual respect, trust, and empathy. They involve active listening and understanding, emotional support and validation, honesty and constructive feedback, shared experiences and memories, unconditional acceptance and love. Having true friendships can have a profound impact on a woman's life. Some benefits are reduced stress and anxiety, improved mental health and well-being, increased self-esteem and confidence, a sense of community and belonging, a support system during these challenging times. To cultivate and maintain true friendships, women can, 1, prioritize quality time with friends, practice active listening and empathy, be supportive and understanding, communicate openly and honestly, show appreciation and gratitude. True friendships are a precious gift for women, trust me, providing a sense of connection, support, and belonging. By nurturing these relationships, women can build strong, lasting bonds that truly enrich their lives and help them thrive, whether through shared experiences, emotional support, or simply being there for one another. True friendships can be a powerful source of joy, comfort, and strength for women. By prioritizing and investing in these relationships, women can cultivate a network of support, loving friends who will be there for them through thick and thin. You're smiling, Zuba.
Thank you.
Yes, have I really touched the nerve?
Oh, yes, you have.
Like, yes.
Yeah, you really love this advocacy, the importance of friendship as a woman. It's totally underrated. Like, we need ourselves. When I see girls talk about, oh, I'm not a girl's girl, I'm better friends with men, I look at it like, hey, those people who don't even like you. But a challenge to female friendship is honesty and constructive feedback.
Yes.
Very few friends can have sincere conversations with themselves without taking it personal, without internalizing it, instead of focusing on the fact that this conversation is because I value our relationship and I want it to be better and I want to keep it, instead of thinking it's an attack on your personality. So women, when your friend is trying to have a conversation with you about a situation, remember that the only reason people have conversation is to have better outcomes. It's not about attacking you. It's about the fact that they still want to keep you in their lives. Long-term relationship of any form is built on forgiveness. So again, your friend is going to hurt you. Same way your child is going to hurt you. Same way your parents are going to hurt you.
And
Same way your spouse is going to hurt you. So you have to be intentional about choosing one another.
For me, I give criticisms or feedback when I understand that the person
will receive it.
Or even give room for that conversation. I also take accountability, right? If I know that having this conversation with you, first of all, is going to come from a place of you not even trying to understand where I'm coming from or trying to then be the victim in the situation, then I rather not, right? I have too many people who know me, right? But I like to say that I don't have a lot of friends. But I know that I have a lot of people that I've met, that are acquaintances. But for me, that word friendship is so deep. No, I don't do that. So I think I have amazing people for different things. I've learned to
different departments.
No, don't use the one. I've learned to compartmentalize, right?
Okay.
So if I want to hang out, I know the set of friends that work for that. And if I want to talk, I don't know. If I want to talk about business, right? My career, maybe I'm having an issue with my boss, or I'm trying to change jobs, or something like that. I know the people I want to reach out to.
Okay.
But interestingly, I've also had amazing male friends. And I'm not saying that their friendship is better than female friendship. I understand what you say, absolutely. If you find an amazing woman in your corner, then you have, what was the question we were talking about before, behind the scene? You have 1,000 men against all the gorillas.
Yeah,
right?
100 men.
Yes, so I think that it's very important to define your relationships, give people grace, and also take accountability. And that's the way that friendship or the kind of relationship you're talking about can really grow.
I took a few points from your advocacy, and I feel men should learn from it. So I will be asking the ladies, distinguished ladies, a few questions while I give my own opinion too. The first one is besties. Men don't do besties. Where do you guys? I mean, Elsie, you might have a bestie that thinks
you are their bestie, and you are
the one going around.
And she's your bestie.
I think all my friends know me. They know where I stand in the word
bestie. The bestie is thinking that you mean she didn't call my name that I'm the bestie.
Yeah,
no,
so
there's nobody.
Number one is bestie. We'll address the issue of bestie. And then number two, I mean, you women, it's nice. I mean, you embody friendliness, and it's kumbaya everywhere. It's so lovely. You even say I love you to each other. Imagine me telling you I love you.
Don't you love
I don't love you like that.
Wait. So are you saying you cannot acknowledge?
See what I said? No, you said I don't love you like that. So you're already thinking the love is a certain type of love.
Yes.
We don't just do that. It's a brotherhood thing. Please, can you respect the brotherhood?
Wow. Continue. You said there's another question.
Yes, they love you. How easy is it for you to just say I love you?
Is it because he's of the same gender? That's why you can't tell him.
No, I like him.
Say more.
So why do you guys don't really love that person you're saying you love?
I do. Oh, I do.
If I tell you I love you, I absolutely love you.
But I get where it's coming from too. There are people who do that.
We can learn from that. Then the third one is what constitutes the bulk of your friendship? Is it work, family, friends, or school friends, which ones do you feel you trust the most? And you can have intimate discussions with, because men, all we do is talk about football, cover up for somebody that did something, give advice, drink choice beverage. And while we're doing all of that, we have heart-to-heart conversations. We have solid friendships that have spanned 3 decades plus. So
but you guys are not that deep. Yinka,
no,
you guys, I think men's friendships are very peripheral.
We don't cry in front of fellow men. I remember in university, this girl broke my heart. I don't want to call her name, and I was crying. And these guys were playing Westlife. He would just be playing love songs. They say, I beg, change the channel. It was very heartbreaking. I mean, I was vulnerable. I cried in front of my male friends. It's a good thing that they didn't laugh at me.
You know, it just cued me into my, into my own conversation. And I just want to add to what you say. Men don't have vulnerable relationships, and that's a challenge. Because when you look at what the women have talked about here, you find out that, they talk about their relationship from a deep emotional level. It's deeper than just the surface.
Yeah.
And so if they don't feel that they connect with somebody at a deeper level, they don't feel that it's friendship. And so the idea of women helping women, it really comes down to, I can connect with you at a deeper level than just the surface. Unfortunately, men don't do relationship like that, which is why, it's easier for a woman to tell another woman, I love you, but a man to tell another man, I love you is like, what does that mean? Actually, what does that
It means
mean?
love.
But I can say it, I can get along with you as a guy easily. So as against women, I mean,
There is a high
three women here in the same, just meeting them for the first time will be sizing themselves up.
Yes.
Okay, what did she wear, whatever. A guy will just say, hey, bro, what's up? Okay, what are you taking? Beer, whiskey? That's it. I mean, we connect. But that connection is always at the surface level. It doesn't really go deeper. And I think what we need to learn from you, the ladies, is that vulnerability is not a weakness.
Thank you.
Okay? And that, sometimes you might not be able to get the best out of a relationship until you're vulnerable.
Yes.
In that relationship, until you know that, I have something to lose. And the way I explain vulnerability is simple. Like, it's like when you're in your house, for instance, your house, your home.
Your home, yeah.
And you're in the bathroom, you're not going to close the toilet. Not the toilet door, because it's your home. Why do I have to close the toilet door? Because maybe I just close it, but I don't have to lock it. But if you are somewhere that's not home, you're very careful. You lock it. You check perfume. You check very well. You're very careful.
Other stuff.
And being vulnerable is about being in that place where I don't have to look at my back.
Feeling safe.
I don't have to check what's going on. I just feel safe. So men, if you're out there listening to me, find that safe space with another guy that you can be with without feeling that you need to look at your back all the way.
Well, for me, I always say sisterhood or friendship means me not having to wonder where I stand with you. That is a real sisterhood and a friendship for me. Just call on me, sister, when you need a hand.
We all need somebody to lean.
Just call on me, sister, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on.
Nigeria, with its vibrant and youthful population, faces significant socio-economic challenges, including unemployment and poverty, which push many to seek opportunities abroad. Every year, thousands of Nigerians, driven by dreams of a better life, leave their homeland in search of greener pastures, most without adequate information on where they are going, what to expect, and the risks they are exposed to. On my recent flight to Egypt, there were about 25 young women between the ages of 13 and 30-ish, all traveling to Egypt in search of greener pastures. While waiting for the visa on arrival, a French woman came by to talk to them, asking if they were in the country to work, and exchanged numbers with them. This woman had no idea where they were going. They were brought in by an agent who promised to facilitate jobs for them on an income-sharing arrangement. I was terrified and appalled at how they passed through immigration without questions being asked. No one asked their purpose in Egypt. No one checked to confirm that they had the adequate resources to cater to themselves. And some didn't even have the $25 visa on arrival fees. This glaring lapse in oversight not only endangers this woman, but also highlights a systemic failure that fuels human trafficking and modern slavery. This is a call to action for the Nigerian government to address the root causes and consequences of illegal migration. Nigeria must aggressively create economic opportunities at home, such that Nigerians will feel the need to seek domestic opportunities abroad illegally. We must embark on public awareness campaigns, educating communities about the dangers of irregular migration and the tactics used by traffickers. We must resensitize the immigration officers on identifying human trafficking trends and markers. We must expand the human trafficking agreement countries to include transit hubs like Egypt, focusing on victim identification, repatriation, and prosecution of traffickers. The image of those 25 young women at the Egyptian airport, surrounded by predators, disguised as employers, is a wake-up call. We cannot continue to lose our daughters to exploitation in undeserving countries.
I'm glad you clarified. I was going to ask the checks, is it in Egypt or in Nigeria? You said 13-year-old?
13-year-old. She sat right beside
traveling
me.
alone?
No, they were like a group of them.
A group, yeah.
So, but, is it, I don't understand. Like, where are their parents?
I don't know.
It is shocking. 13, I don't even think
like she,
at that time I could let my daughter.
13-year-old, she's a...
Did you fly from Lagos or Abuja?
She went from Lagos. It's crazy. I mean, it is just, it's so dysfunctional that things are so hard back at home that these teenagers literally have to seek worse elsewhere because you don't know what lies ahead for you. You have no information. You're just going to make yourself easy prey for people who are ready to just exploit you and use you to the best of their ability. I don't know what the National Orientation Agency is doing. I don't know which other agency is responsible. They're not. It's not. They're not. NAPTIP. But we say you have to orientation. You have to speak to your people. NAPTIP, yes, too. But I think they've done some stuff, but there isn't enough being done
anymore. It used to be in our faces a couple of years back.
The funds have run dry.
Or maybe the people are just desperate to seek greener pasture. They assume that the grass is always greener on the other side.
No, bring on
because it takes a lot of dedication to go there. And the agents are very persuasive.
Yes.
They're like the CBEX guys. They convince you that, look, you're going to get returns. Because, I mean, imagine the parents of those 25 kids. You have to raise air tickets. They're not cheap.
Yes.
You have to have some level of money to send those kids there. So there's a pull factor that is coming from this unscrupulous. And this happens everywhere. In East Africa, the Kenyan government had to ban domestic Kenyans from going to Gulf countries as domestic workers because there are reports of sexual violence, domestic violence, and all of that.
Organ trafficking, all of that.
And it's really sad that we've reduced ourselves to this because opportunities are far and in between back home, and it's a tragedy. But there's a whole... There should be consequences for people responsible for this. I'll hold NAPTIP and Nigerian immigration because they talk. I mean, regular folks.
Why not the National Orientation Agency? What's their job?
We've just forgotten.
Why have you forgotten them?
Okay, so I hold NAPTIP responsible, and not the victims. I think, or their parents. Because NAPTIP is supposed to enforce the Trafficking in Persons Prohibition, Enforcement and Administration Act of 2003. So there's a law. You remember what you say about a law that is not...
The suggestion.
They should have a desk at the airport.
It's not... They do have index at
They have?
So that's what
At
I'm
the
saying.
border?
Yes, at every point.
Interesting.
So
They
I
went
mean,
to eat lunch on that.
NATIP has 3 basic components that it must accomplish. One is the prevention, suppression, and punishment. Okay, that's one. Secondly, international cooperation. So the things you are saying that, okay, we should talk about to all the
Other countries.
It's within NATIP's purview.
Yeah.
And then the third one is coordination of resources with local agencies. It's part of its work. A lot of those guys, that group that you saw going to Egypt, some group is going to Iran for also Iraq as well.
Lord.
Yes.
Is they went through the Murtala Mohammed
Yes, they did.
airport. They went through immigration. You think the immigration officers don't know about them? They do.
They do.
Okay? But they allow them because their agents on ground here are sorted out here.
Yeah.
So it is, at the end of the day, a failure of a government agency to do its work because they're moving from a border. They're not crossing the desert. They're moving from the border. And there are agencies at the border point that should stop them.
Victor, when you said that they don't know what lies ahead, right? Yeah. And sometimes, like you said, they're the victim, and I don't know. I need to say they are very bold. Because I cannot.
I cannot.
I don't know. I rather anyway. But you also said greener pastures, right? You think it's always greener on the other side, and that's what I try. Some conversations I try to have with people around me, especially when, at least I know I've gone to about 13 countries, right? I tell people there's poverty everywhere. Those countries that you're going to say you're looking for greener pastures, there are people, indigenes, that don't even have jobs, that are still looking for jobs there, right? When you're going anywhere, there has to be a plan. There has to be a reason. Where are you going to? What are you doing? What skills do you have? Who is the person giving you assurance? Like you said, they're very persuasive, even more than CBS people. But you really have to sit down and think and understand what this is going to do. But I think I would just give kudos to New Central as well. I know that there was a time, I don't know if that's still running, but there was a report on immigration.
Traffic to Ghana.
Yes, trafficking and all, and that was largely promoted. And I think that should keep running because it also shone light on some of the issues that Zuma has raised. But I think that people need to really love themselves more than the money they are chasing.
Yes.
Because I don't know what you want. Someone was telling me.
Be content.
Personally, I have friends that have Japa. When you look at them, I mean, on the surface, I think that they're doing good, but I don't think that they're doing better than I'm doing. I think everybody's doing good where they are doing good.
We all have a race to
But there are people who already have that mindset. They feel like the fact that they're not in Nigeria, they're better than you. And they start having that conversation with me, and I stop them there straight. I said, my darling, I might be looking young and small or whatever, but I'm almost getting to 40, right? Sure. There are some jobs I cannot start doing. That's my piece.
One of the tragedies from this is it was a chance meeting. Zuma was traveling to Egypt. It happened. Imagine what happens every day. The numbers. Imagine the numbers. Very chance meeting, and for her to observe this group of 25
at one time. So you can imagine
the volume of and to more dangerous countries like Libya. There's an ongoing slave market. They're active slave market.
It's pseudo-slavery, actually.
It's pseudo-slavery.
Pseudo-slavery.
The French woman was saying, oh, she had a Nigerian who was with her for like 5 years. As she was saying it, I was getting irritated. I was trying to like, Zuma, calm down. Calm down. You know, and she was telling them all of that, and they were exchanging numbers that, oh, is it children she wants to have to take care of, or is it elderly people and all of that? Right there. I was sitting.
It's actually a whole ring. It's like a whole ring from Nigeria to whatever country they're going to.
Anyway. The greener pastures we are running to didn't grow by magic. Therefore, if it's too green to be true, it probably is.
As Zuma, may our desperation not turn us into someone else's prey. I'll continue from where you left off, looking out for our sisters. Barely 3 weeks ago, we were reeling from the suspected poisoning and tragic death of Shemite Bello, a special advisor to the Delta State governor on trade and exports. Another woman gone under suspicious circumstances. Her husband, David Favor Love, was reportedly arrested following suspicions surrounding her death. Trouble started when Shimite's maid called her brother saying she had been locked in all day. When he arrived, he found her unconscious with foam at her mouth. Despite rushing her to the hospital, it was too late. Family members claim he had taken control of Shimite's life, isolated her, stopped her from going to work, and changed the ownership of some of her assets to his name. Now, just 2 weeks ago, Peter Nwachukwu, husband of late gospel singer Osinachi, was sentenced to death by hanging. Osinachi was beaten, tortured, and humiliated by her husband. He even made her children participate. She was the breadwinner, the submissive wife. She still died at his hands. Then last week, blogs screamed, justice at last, after a Lagos BRT driver was sentenced to death for the murder of Bamishe Ayowole, a young woman who boarded a bus and never made it home. So I ask, what is justice for the Nigerian woman? According to an NGO, Shimite's death marks the 50th reported femicide in Nigeria just this year, 2025. UN Women says every 10 minutes, a woman is intentionally killed by a partner or family member. Now, justice is not just hanging the murderer. It's unlearning the culture that demands her silence. It's rejecting religion that glorifies endurance. It's letting women live freely, wholly, without demanding a husband for validation. It's respecting women as complete, autonomous humans, not projects needing a ring. Dear woman, live for yourself, walk away, be too much. And if your pastor tells you to fast through abuse, switch churches. Keep switching until you find your tribe. To everyone still measuring a woman's worth by how much she can endure, still demanding marriage or nothing, your hands are not clean. Because the woman's life matters before the hashtags, justice must begin while she still breathes.
This is a space where I'm very, very active. I always say, live to live.
Yeah.
Live to live. Do not let anyone, and I like what you also said that about religion that glorifies endurance. That Christ has endured for us is over. He was on the cross, all our sins forgiven. All this one of pray. I know a situation, okay, it's a personal thing, not for me, but someone it happened to. The husband was the one messing up. Oh, yet when they came to the house, it's the woman they laid hands on.
Wow.
That she should be more forgiving of her husband. She should not, how did she see the message on his phone? The man is so culpable, but nobody attended to him. Everybody faced the woman. Wow. She needs to be more calm, pray and fast, pray, more pray and fast. Okay, Otigbo. A society that guilt shames the woman because she's single, because she doesn't have member of responsible society.
She doesn't have a crown.
She doesn't have a covering. They say it's a covering, of a man. It's okay. Laugh at me. It's okay. Put me out there like a coconut left to dry. I am alive. And I always tell women, don't put yourself in such a situation where you are not even able to be yourself anymore. I don't know, is this country? Is this place? Outside of here, they take all these things very seriously. Once you just report, the man first step outside. Let us know what is happening. But yeah,
Nigerian police will tell you it's domestic.
They say domestic. Go and talk to yourself. And there's a criminal program I'm watching on Netflix at the moment. I'm just watching people that are in incarceration. I've forgotten the name. I'll try and send it to the team so they put it up. And this lawyer was saying that this girl, she had reported to the police in another country twice. And they say it's the third time that they will act. By that third time, she was dead. So are you saying that the first time is not important enough? Oh, go and sort it out. I'm sure people can talk it out.
I'm sure you said something.
And and especially here, where it is the church, the pastor that will first ask for anointing oil to be placed on the woman's head. Maybe her head is too hot, or her mouth is too sharp. That is why the man is behaving this way. But look at Osinachi now. Look at her. And I'm glad with the sentence. I'm very, very happy.
Gender-based violence, intimate partner violence are two things that I just can't comprehend. Because you stand in the presence of man and God and swore to love and protect someone, and you choose to intentionally hurt them to the point of death.
They took it to death till death was part. They went there straight.
You know, you cannot walk your way to part, right? You had to end someone's life to part. Women, when a man was one, but in front of man and God, to love and protect you, start intentionally hurting you, it's time to leave. As Kate keeps saying, you need to leave to live.
Yes.
We women, we need to love ourselves enough.
Enough.
We need to put the love we have for ourselves above social validation.
That's right.
And we need to be economically empowered enough to live.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said social validation. I'm trying to interrupt you because when Shimite, the story of her death is the first time I ever heard of her.
I'm just hearing about it.
But if you read her profile, you know that she's not poor.
Because it doesn't happen to only poor women.
You said something about being independent and all, because sometimes we have this conversation, we say women stay there because they probably cannot take care of themselves.
What of those that can?
When they leave. So what happens to those that have? It takes us back to social validation they're looking for. Maybe if I leave this man now, I won't get the respect.
If you like abuse me, I'll abuse you back. Because nothing happened with me. Nothing's wrong with me.
Is marriage an achievement?
Oh, it is understandable.
For the hungry people, especially in the society and online, it's an achievement. The first thing they will abuse a woman is you don't have a husband. Yeah. You're a prostitute and you're yes. That's the first thing. And it's such a tired this thing.
I think you have a lot to say because this.
You want to tell me that you have my type at home? That's the next abuse. You have your type at home. Yeah. You don't have my type at home. That's why I'm not in your house.
So it says that 46% of domestic violence is from intimate partner violence. Okay, which is different from sexual violence. So many people have always looked at sexual violence as the biggest issue, but in reality, what the data shows is that the biggest problem we have, which is almost 50% of the case, is intimate partner violence. And I've been in conversations with women, who tell me that we always think that this intimate partner violence is for women at the lower, rung of the ladder. But in reality, you actually also find that women at the top of their career, high-profile women, even in the corporate sector, are actually also affected by this. You just don't talk about it in the open.
You take black eye and come to work with makeup.
And all that. So we have to have a very serious conversation about
honest conversation.
Especially because, this is the 10th-year anniversary of the Japa Act, the Violence Against Persons
Prohibition Act, yeah.
And so we're just 10 years in. The question I want to ask is, how many states have domesticated the Japa Act? Lagos has done a lot. We've seen what Lagos has done.
Lagos always does his bit. I always give them kudos on that.
What have
sexual violence
have other states done? And so this is where we must begin to be strategic in focusing the advocacy. I know it is good to spotlight what the stories, but we must go beyond just spotlighting them. We must be very intentional, we must be very deliberate, we must organize, and we must target those states, all right, that have not domesticated that law, and make sure that they do so, and also ensure that the rights of women, especially intimate partner rights, are protected.
Mine would be, first and foremost, you have no right to lay your hands on another human being, male or female, let alone somebody you've taken vows to love and protect for the rest of your life. It's the lowest, and my circle of friends, I don't know any man that would be proud to, in the midst of his friends, say, I hate my wife, I slap her, she needs to respect. She needs to respect me. So I wonder who's raising those kind of men that are beating their partners and wives. It's really sad. We shouldn't even be. It shouldn't be an issue. And then you take it a notch further, and this is where it starts. If it happens the first time, it starts from a first slap. You gain confidence. Yeah. It becomes a regular occurrence. You're testing the waters until, like the Osinachi example, until a life is lost, which is very unfortunate. I remember I visited Ikoyi prisons. I wasn't in prison, I visited as a journalist. It was Judiciary Week in Lagos State, and during that week, the Chief Judge grants prerogative of mercy, releases some awaiting trial inmates. And I remember this guy, I saw this guy, stood there, and I remember seeing him on TV. He killed his banker wife.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So,
she worked with Skybank or something like that, yes.
And I saw the face. And yes, his life has been completely destroyed. He will never come out of prison. So in that moment of heat and anger, please remember there are consequences. Human beings are very fragile.
The Nigerian Penal Code Act applies to the northern states of Nigeria. I don't know how true this is. It says section 55 or 1 is subject to customs that have been recognized as lawful, allows a husband to correct.
That's what I said now. I said, won't buy
correct his wife as long as it does not amount to previous hurt.
I just really want to speak to any woman out there. Like Kate, you would always say, you have to live to live. And most times you say, oh, I am staying for my children. Now you are dead, the husband is going to jail, the children are scarred for life, and they are now orphans, right? So please live to live. That's all I can say. And you are enough, really.
You are.
And that just about wraps things up on the table today. What are your takeaways? How about this? A woman's life matter before the hashtags. Let's keep looking out for one another, since we all need somebody to lean on. Till next time, same channel is goodbye from all of us.
We
are
somebody
to lean